Welcome back to another episode of We Roguelike It. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me as always is Moonpeer.
Hello.
And Monkey Senior. We are here to start our coverage of Dungreed, which I'm fairly sure of the pronunciation of. I'm assuming it's not Dungreed or anything like that. This is a game that I think Monkey had said last week when we finished recording. This is the very first game that all three of us knew pretty much nothing about. So Brave New Frontiers. I'm enjoying Dungreed a whole lot.
Yeah, I am too. It feels really good to control to me. With the mouse and keyboard.
I'm playing on
keep
controller.
Going. Really? We'll get there. Well, you keep going.
I love the controller.
Really.
I love the controller controls.
So at home I was playing with the mouse and keyboard, but at PAX this past weekend I got to try it with controller there, and I do not like the controller controls.
Oh yeah, I dig it.
Right here is where I'm sitting. Honestly, when did I become the negative Nancy is what I want to know. Okay, so graphically I think the game looks okay. It's an 8-bit retro shooter, whatever.
I think it looks better than okay. There's a lot of real high quality sprite work going on.
Okay, yeah. The sprite work is good, it's a very rote style at this point, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
I hate the controls with a passion on both control styles.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I have this on Steam.
Yes, I do too.
I played both controller and mouse and keyboard. Mouse and keyboard is definitely easier. I think the controller controls are atrocious.
I could not disagree with you more. What's the crux of your frustration here?
Well, right now it's a mixture of a couple of things. I'm messing around with a bunch of key bindings on controller to see if if I can change it, because my main issue is you should not have an aim, an attack, and a jump button that you can only press 2 at the same time.
Aim, attack, and jump button, you can only press 2 at the same time.
Yep, specifically in this case, I'm using an Xbox One controller, and by default it binds right stick is your aim around yourself, so you can run backwards while attacking behind you. Right trigger is attack.
Right trigger is attack? Okay.
And A is jump. So
see, for me, on a PS4 controller, right bumper is or R1 is attack.
That's because the PS4 has got terrible triggers, but it's the same concept.
No, never mind. No, R1, not R2.
Yeah, so they switched it because the triggers are crap, is what I'm saying.
Right. Anyway,
it's the same concept. I cannot run from the left to the right of the screen, aiming behind me, jump and attack at the same time. I have to release that aim button, which defaulted then to the direction I'm running, in order to jump. Yes. It's hard to describe. I cannot run right, aim left, and attack and jump at the same time, which is something I by default can do very easily.
I do agree with Moon. Like that's something I found when I was playing at PAX. Like I want to aim and jump at the same time, and it's hard. You can dash and jump. I mean, dash and aim at the same time, but you can't jump and aim.
Yeah, that's been my replacement for jumping, is using the dash ability instead.
I see what you're saying.
So yes. I've been dashing towards people instead of jumping, but dashing feels a lot less controllable than the actual jumping kind of thing. Like, jumping is a lot slower. It's not an immediate straight line vector. It's like I can finesse that a little bit better. So I'm probably, because I never used any of the abilities on the weapons, so I'm probably going to end up rebinding my jump to the left trigger and then hoping that will ease my pain a little bit, so I can just left trigger jump, and then if I want to use an ability I can hit the A button then. But I really, really struggled with that control. I know it's got the lock-on feature as well, which is designed to help a little bit. It doesn't help enough. It just feels weird, and I would embrace the lock-on a lot more if it auto-changed targets. So I'm trying to think of other games that have used this where you have a lock on, you kill that person you've locked on, by default it snaps to the next person and locks onto that person. The game doesn't do that. As soon as you've killed whatever you're locked onto, it unlocks itself from stuff. And I'm taking so many hits, so much extra damage, because it's just like, now I've got to aim that way, lock on, no, not that one, he's behind the one I want to lock onto, now aim that one, and he's the one I want to lock onto. I really struggle with the controls in this. Mouse and keyboard is easier, because basically it just feels like a twin-stick shooter platformer at that point, which makes things a little bit easier. But I suck with keyboards, dude. Like, I genuinely do. Like, I am terrible when it comes to actual keyboard controls, and I've got no problem admitting that. I didn't grow up with PC gaming, so keyboard controls to me are just difficult for me to finagle my way around. But I did have a hell of a run with the mouse and the keyboard. But it did make me very angry that I couldn't do the same thing with the controller, because I genuinely like this game a lot. I'm liking what I've played, but these controls are literally driving me crazy.
I'm surprised, because I thought we would have a much more positive conversation here, because I don't have any problems with the controls at all. I'm surprised. I don't blame you guys. I just there's something about it that really clicks with me, and I'm finishing the first floor of the dungeon without taking damage until I get to the boss. Like there's something about it that's really clicking.
I think I can do that with the keyboard and mouse controls, so I'm okay with that. But just the controller is weird.
Yeah. It feels odd, and maybe it's a case of I just need to deal with it and play with a keyboard and mouse. But I hate sitting in this chair when I don't have to sit in this chair, kind of thing.
Right.
I'd rather be sitting on my couch, which there's no easy way for me to really play with a keyboard and mouse downstairs.
Right.
But I mean, don't get me wrong, like, I genuinely like this game a lot. It's one of those things that's just itching away at me, like, just it's like a scab at the back of my head, just scratching away. Like, I love the music, the art style's pretty good. I like the progression so far. I mean, I don't know about you guys. Any furthest runs?
I don't remember.
How many bosses have you guys beat?
Just the first one, but I've unlocked like 4 shops in the town so far.
Yeah.
So
I think I'm at the same part. Yeah.
So that's been my focus mainly.
So I had 4 or 5 controller runs, where I was doing okay, but nothing special. And then that first boss just trounced me every single time. This stupid handy laser thing.
Yeah.
Then I had my keyboard and mouse run, and I happened to pick up probably my favorite weapon in the game so far. And I beat the first boss, and the second boss, and the third boss, and the fourth boss.
Jeez.
Nice.
So now I've got like 9 buildings to build and not enough gold to build them all.
Right. What was the weapon you picked up?
It was like a fire rod. I think it was even called something simple like a fire rod. But it's interesting because they use the ranged weapons as like ammo. So basically you've got a certain number of charges or shots, and then you have to reload the magic wand.
Right.
And this thing was just pumping out damage, like really high fire rate, really high damage output. Like, it was base damage of like 20 to 28, and I could do 10 shots before I needed to reload. So it was particularly powerful. And then I found the magnifying glass, which makes your bullets bigger, do 33% more damage. You just reload slower. So
yeah, because I picked up a shotgun at one point that could fire 4 times before I had to reload, and that was pretty okay, but nothing like that fire rod, man.
My very first run, I got the fire rod, and I was like, wow, this game is really easy. And then I got my like second, third runs, and I'm just like, oh, it's just that weapon. It's pretty good.
One weapon. Yep.
Yeah.
At that point, I basically just built my entire loadout around doing as much like power damage as I could, like as much magic damage output. I defeated, like I said, I think I beat 4 bosses, rescued like another 5 new people, and she's like, okay, so now all I need is gold, basically. And then instead of being clever and escaping from the dungeon. But I don't know if you escape from the dungeon, do you take all of your gold with you, or do you only take the portion still?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because are we all doing the same thing where we just go until we die by any chance?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. I might have to do a test run and see if using the amulet to escape just lets you escape with everything that you have.
Right.
Because that would be interesting. Because there is a note as well. I did find an enchanted anvil, which increased you could put an item in there and upgrade it, but then you couldn't return it to town.
Okay.
Which makes me think that maybe if you use the amulet to come back, you can carry stuff back to the town a lot more than you would. Because every time you die, the dungeon pops up and then does that vacuum thing and
slurps up all your items. Yeah.
It's interesting. Like, this game is genuinely interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't want a mouse and keyboard.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder if you switch jump to left trigger or switch it to right bumper and right trigger, or right and left bumper. I wonder if that solves the problem.
Hopefully it will. Because, I mean, like I said, I've played a couple of times now, and I never remember that weapons have abilities. I just don't.
Yeah.
Okay, so this other magic wand I had was fired stars.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, oh, okay. And it had a special ability which allowed you to launch tons of stars all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of those things where it was like, okay, it doesn't do as much damage as my fire rod. So I think I'm just going to, stick with that instead for a while.
Yeah, like you already have a solid run. Why mess with it?
Yeah.
I think it is interesting that they give you 2 weapon slots, because I did find, like, I just want to use that one weapon, and like,
the strongest one you have.
Like, why bother switching weapons? So
yeah, I found this sword at one time that did like 4 hits whenever you hit, and it did a bunch of poison damage at the same time. It's like, well, why am I gonna use something else at this point?
Like the purple and green looking one?
I think so, yeah.
Looks like a giant, like, sawtooth razor blade kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like, well, why am I gonna use some? I mean, I don't know. It's cool that you have multiple loadouts, but it's sort of, when you're building, like Moon was saying, when you're building a character for one specific weapon or one specific loadout, then it seems a little bit weird. That's like, I'm gonna switch to the other one, and none of my equipment matters now. Like. It's interesting.
I do like the food system in the game.
Yeah. It's really interesting system.
I just keep an eye, like, I buy the most expensive thing I can. I look at what the next most expensive thing's, like, hunger thing is, and then I keep going through rooms until I get to that point, and then go back and eat the next thing I can, and then so on and so forth. Just trying to maximize how much you can get from it. It seems to help a lot.
Yeah, it especially early game, it seems like it's a pretty significant upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
And do you guys know if those are permanent upgrades throughout that dungeon? Like, because it says like plus 10 max HP.
I believe it carries throughout the. I don't know if it's the floor or if it carries throughout the entire run. I might have to do some double checking into this, because I know on your character screen you can actually check and see what food you've got.
Oh yeah, you can.
Yeah, I think it's the run, but at the very least it is that floor of the dungeon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Have you guys tried the quarterstaff? I think that's my favorite weapon.
The spinning one?
Yeah, the spinning one. You just
I got that once.
Just hold attack down and just run around. It's so fun.
Yeah, I'm pretty impressed with how many unlockables there are. Like,
so
when I built my first thing in town, I was like, oh, cool, like, now I can visit this thing. And then it shows me the screen of like 20 unlockables, and it's like, oh, okay, that's a lot of stuff. All right,
that doesn't stop. Like,
yeah, like every time you build something in town, it's like, all right, here's 20 more unlockables. It's like, that's okay, great.
I've also had the every boss you beat, you don't unlock like another 3 or 4 things.
Oh, true. Yeah.
It's ridiculous. So much
stuff.
Yeah.
It's nice to see, because a lot of these newer roguelikes are sort of like, here's your unlockables. We got like 5 items.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. through no fault of smaller teams, but sometimes it can be a little frustrating when it's like you beat 2 bosses and you get the achievement for unlocking everything in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, have you guys checked out the item sets menu?
No, what?
They're item sets.
I looked at it and saw, well, I'll worry about that later.
Yeah.
And
it's pretty cool because so I guess the easiest one that I've got is you have the silver ring and the silver necklace equipped, and then that just gives you 20 something crit chance.
Oh wow!
Yeah, whenever you have it equipped. So there's a whole list of a whole bunch of sets. Like I know one
and multiple armor pieces and weapons and
one's if you have all the bats are so good. It gives you something, I don't know, but that's super interesting how instead of how Isaac has item combinations change certain items, right? Instead it's sets that gives you probably more stats for all of them. That's
something you'd see in a hack and slash looter is not something we see often in a roguelike. Especially, I think the thing that's kind of crazy to me is how much stuff there is in the game. We're probably still missing stuff between weapon and armor sets and eating food and teleporting and building the town and doing all this stuff and there's a lot of stuff in this game. All of it seems good, so it's not sort of all right, here's another tutorial for something I'll never use, but it all seems
to keep
great.
Going and keep going and keep going.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if we missed anything else.
I mean, don't get me wrong, controller woes aside, I'm actually enjoying this game a lot. I like the movement speed. I like the music. As I was playing it, I was thinking that this is what I wanted Cave Blazers to be. The quickness of movement, the controls, it's a game that moves. It's a game that controls really well, and I have a lot of fun playing, and I felt like Run Over Run with Cave Blazers, as great as that game occasionally could be, a lot of times you're sort of playing and it's just get out of my way and let me move a little faster, let me control it a little bit more smoothly, and I have so much more fun, and Dungreed feels like that. Yeah, I mean they've also done the QOL stuff, which is the ability to fast travel so quickly between all of the different rooms. So it's the boss is here, so I'm just gonna quickly jump back, get some food, go to the shop guy, see if there's any big weapons I can pick up in the meantime, and you can fly through all that stuff in 10 seconds. You can go from room to room to room to room and be done.
It reminds me a lot of Enter the Gungeon, where it's you shouldn't have to walk back through this entire floor. You want to go to the shop? Just pop right over there, open the menu, and pop right over there. It's no big... And I like that you can even fast travel in town. Yeah. Town isn't even that big, but the game just wants you to get back into a run, and when you're in a run, it just wants you to keep moving. There's very much a speed to it that it really wants to keep up. Yeah. And I appreciate that.
Yeah. The first time I teleported in town, I was I kept clicking it because I was why am I not teleporting? And then I closed the map. I was I'm already here. So.
Yeah, it took a millisecond. Yeah. All right, any closing thoughts for Dungreed?
Can't wait to play more.
Yeah. I'm looking forward.
So far, so good.
More. I just need to tweak the controls a little bit more to my liking.
The benefit, though, so far Dungreed has not lied.
That is true. If we ever get a game that might potentially beat that in the science list, that's going to be the question we ask.
Right. Did this game lie to us? Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for listening, and we'll see you all next run.
Bye.